Yo, what's going on everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Pokemon Journey series. We're going to be covering episode 58 in this review, and this is the third two-parter episode in Pokemon Journeys, and, well, this episode was weird, man. I don't know how I'm going to review it, but just like the other two, I'm going to try. And just like the other two, I'm going to review the first part first, then give it a score, then review the second part, give it a score, and then an overall feeling of the episode. And then we'll conclude the video from there. But anyways, yeah, if you're new to the channel, like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and yeah. Okay, so part 1 of this episode is titled Panic Gulpin Ball. And it starts out with Team Rocket. They're just sleeping at their little hideout they have in Vermilion City. And for whatever reason, James gets up, he's half asleep. He takes Meowth, puts Meowth on the gotcha machine like he's about to get some Pokeballs out of the gotcha machine, but gives up halfway and just falls back asleep. And Pelipper, for whatever reason, decides to get some Pokeballs out of the gotcha machine and accidentally releases a bunch of Gulpin, which, why is there like 50 Gulpin that come out of this gotcha machine? Does Giovanni just particularly like this Pokemon? Not really sure, but now they're released to the city, and Pelipper basically does nothing and goes back to sleep for whatever reason. I guess it doesn't really care about the gotcha machine so much, it's just bored and tired of it, like we all are. So on to Ash and Go. So Go apparently was on a jog and was seemingly playing tag with Ash, because he runs up these steps, and he's seemingly gotten a little bit more athletic since early Journeys, because if you remember in early Journeys, this kid wasn't very athletic, but look at him now. I guess going on all these adventures with Ash, and being with an athletic kid like Ash himself, made Go a little athletic, so I guess that's kind of neat. But anyways, Go hears a Pokemon in the bushes. Ash comes up and tags Go, and as a result, Go gets his head stuck on a Gulpin. Literally, his head is now Gulpin, and it's stuck, and he can't get Gulpin off. And also, Ash ends up getting a Gulpin stuck on his back, so yeah, they're in a bit of a sticky situation here. Ash basically has to lead Go back to the lab so they can figure out, okay, how we're going to get these Pokemon off of us. And they're heading into the city, and they see basically, it looks like a side performance, a street performance going on with Alakazam doing some tricks over here. So Ash goes to see it. Go obviously can't see anything, so he's not going to be able to enjoy it. But before they can even get to the street performance, all those Gulpin from Team Rocket's little hideout here, yeah, they're in the city, and basically they're all stuck together, and subsequently Ash and Go get stuck. And then all the Pokemon that were at the street performance get stuck as well. Basically, it turned into a big ball of Gulpin and all these Pokemon and rolls through the city. And it almost looks like a planet that's like flying through the city, because Alakazam over here gets annoyed and starts using telekinesis to cause the entire thing to just start flying. So basically this flying object, planet-like thing is just flying through the city and nobody knows what it is. Now, I don't know about you guys out there, but if I saw this random planet-like ball thingy just flying through the town that I'm in, just all over the place, I'd probably be freaking out and thinking that an alien invasion is going on. But seems like people are taking out their phones and taking videos of this. It seems to have gotten on the internet, and it comes to the attention of the Sakuragi Labs. And Renji also posts a video and sends it over to Professor Sakuragi and his assistant Kikuna. And they're wondering what it is. They're wondering if it's a new Pokemon, and it seems to be getting bigger and bigger and just moving rapidly. And it sounds like it's heading over to the Sakuragi Labs. So they're trying to figure out what it is, and they actually look back and find out that Ash and Go are involved. So, yeah. Now, Koharu is basically on her way home from school, and she gets a call from Go, and Go is trying to basically explain the situation from his perspective, what's going on, and it makes absolutely no sense to her. He's like, Koharu, we're stuck in this ball-like thing. Wait a second, it feels like we're flying through the air. Wait a second, it looks like we're back on the ground now. And she's like, what in the world are you guys talking about? You're not making any sense. But Professor Sakuragi happens to be right by her and realizes what's going on, and that's when they show up. It freaks her out, and they're all up in the air, flying now because of Alakazam's telekinesis. And Professor Sakuragi basically tells them what they need to do. He realizes the situation, what happened. Apparently, it's due to Gulpin's sticky hold ability. That's why they're all stuck together. So in order to release it, he tells Ash and Go to basically use gastric acid, and that should release it. So instead of doing that, Ash and Go, for some reason, just say yay, and that's enough to release the sticky hold. And that's pretty much the end of this segment of the episode. Okay, so overall, this segment of this episode was alright. It was kind of mediocre. Nothing really too special. In the tradition of the previous two-parter episodes, it was very wacky, very ridiculous. But unlike episode 41, it was somewhat enjoyable. So I'll give this part that. But overall, nothing really too special. It did really feel like filler. So, I don't know, maybe like a 4 out of 10 for this segment. I think that seems kind of fair for this part of the episode. Okay, so on to part 2 of this episode, which is titled, Come On Chewtle, the Turtle Race. So back at Team Rocket's hideout, they're all sleeping still, but Meowth and Wobbuffet wake up, and Meowth is kind of half asleep, wondering what's going on and why he's upside down, hanging by the gotcha machine. And Wobbuffet, for whatever reason, takes a Pokeball out of the gotcha machine, which this Pokeball has a Chewtle in it. Meowth is free, and Chewtle decides to walk out of the hideout, so Meowth and Wobbuffet head out after it. So Meowth, Wobbuffet, and Chewtle head into town, and they end up going to the park. It looks like Chewtle wants to run around and play around in the park, and ends up running into a Turtwig, which is very cocky, I must say, and basically is taunting Chewtle, and they decide to have a race. And Meowth takes his Rotom phone out and decides to film this race so that he can put it on the internet and it will go viral. So the Rotom phone, despite the fact that the Rotom phone wants nothing to do with it, says whatever, let's just do it. So anyways, Wobbuffet's the one with the flag here. So it's Chewtle versus Turtwig in a turtle race to Wobbuffet. So the race begins, and there's quite a lot of shenanigans that happen in this race. For instance, they run into a bunch of Pokemon while this race goes on. They first run into a Torkoal, which for whatever reason, Meowth is talking to it and it causes it to laugh. It's like bragging over here and laughing at the same time and causes itself to spread a bunch of smoke. So there's that part. Then there's the next part was actually kind of nice. So Chewtle and Turtwig have to basically climb up this slide and go down it to continue the race. But as they're climbing up, Chewtle actually slips off and is about to hit the ground. But Turtwig saves it and throws it on the slide. And at this point, Chewtle has an advantage. But Turtwig over here is bragging. He's like, you think you have an advantage? Well, I'm going to catch right up to you. And Turtwig pretty much does that. Next, they head through a sand area in the park, in which a Turtunga is basically racing them in this part and is way faster than them. And it's pretty much swimming in the sand and it ends up crashing at the end. So it's taking itself out of the race as well. Now, another interesting segment in this race happens when Turtwig basically collapses. Turns out its leaves are withering and it's super thirsty, but it wants to keep going on. And Meowth is over here like, dude, you need water. Your leaves are withering. You can't really go on. You're pushing yourself too hard. Chewtle ends up using Water Gun on Turtwig, causing its leaves to basically sprout back to life. And they show some respect for one another and they continue the race. And then a bunch of other turtle Pokemon just randomly show up at the end and they're racing for the finish line. Wobbuffet freaks out because they're all rushing towards him and he ends up taking off, which was pretty funny, not gonna lie. But as it turns out, all the Pokemon we basically ran into in this episode are owned by this random turtle master who's basically riding in on a bunch of Blastoids, which was kind of funny. But they're all heading back home, and as a result, Chewtle actually goes across the finish line, wins the race, and even says, yeah, it was bound to happen regardless. And there's your episode. Now, believe it or not, I actually enjoyed this segment of the episode more than the first segment. But don't get me wrong, it's still only decent at best. But the reason why I enjoyed this segment over the first segment is mainly because of Chewtle here. Now, Chewtle is a Pokemon that definitely needs a lot more screen time. It's unfortunately stuck in the gotcha machine and only makes appearances here and there. It, along with Morpeko, definitely need more screen time. But the thing I like here is that Chewtle's personality is explored a little bit more in this segment of this episode. Now, I like the fact that Meowth is narrating here because it basically tells the audience what Chewtle's personality is like and what it's thinking. And we get to learn a little bit more about this little guy, and we can see that, yeah, he's a little cocky. He's very confident in his own abilities and thinking, yeah, I'm going to win this race. And at the very end of it, he's like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. I knew from the start I was going to win this race, and yeah, I'm the best. So I like that. I want to see more of that. I want to see Chewtle face off against some very powerful enemies and be super confident. I don't know. I just think that's funny. So hopefully we get some more screen time for this little guy. So this segment, I'm actually going to give it a 6 out of 10. Decent, and I like the Chewtle focus, but still overall, nothing too special. Besides Chewtle, that is. Alrighty, so that's pretty much all I got for this review. So overall, I thought this episode was way more enjoyable than episode 41. Currently the worst episode of Journeys. Like, it's still not like a great episode, but at least it was a bit enjoyable, and I also like Chewtle being shown off in this episode. And there were some segments in this episode that were pretty funny, not gonna lie. So, I gave the first segment a 4 out of 10, and the second segment a 6 out of 10. So overall, I'm gonna give this episode a 5 out of 10. Decent episode, average episode overall. So if we're gonna do two-parters, periodically here and there in Journeys, hopefully they're more like this episode, and hopefully the next one is even better. Who knows? My hopes are not super high for these episodes, and I'd prefer something else besides these episodes, if I'm being completely honest, but I'll take what I can get. So, guys, in the comment section down below, what did you think of this episode? Or at least part 1 and part 2 of this episode. Did you love the episode? Did you hate the episode? Which segment did you think was better? Post your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll see you all later. You have a great day or night wherever you're at, and peace.